Hi guys, hello everybody, welcome to our webinar. So today we're going to be talking about new features, and we're going to review what Corona 13 has for us in its new installment. So obviously, if you live under the rock and you don't know exactly where to get a newest Corona, all you need to do is go to chaos.com Corona and try it for free or purchase it. That's basically it. But really where I get it is the coronarenderer.com, and that's basically where I would also recommend you to go if you're interested in that. And well, although Corona's newest installment is definitely going to have a lot to offer, yeah, I was checking out the lore of Flapjack. Now let's see, because I am rendering some stuff in the background, so my computer may be laggy a little bit, but that doesn't matter. So hello everybody, for those of you that just joined in for the first time, my name is Mike and I'm a teacher for Vizacademy UK. Vizacademy UK will teach you how to create beautiful photorealistic visualizations in less than 7 weeks. And that's exactly why we're here, because we also want to give something to the community and, well, while doing so, promote our school. So if you are interested in joining our training that's going to come with support to pre-recorded videos and 3 webinars per week, and it lasts 7 weeks, make sure to grab your spot for July, because that's definitely going to be something that you will enjoy. And I see that there are some of my students also in the chat, and now hello Robin, I see that Krishna is also here. So everybody who's in a chat, it would mean a world to me to see you say hello, because it's always nicer to have a webinar with people than without them. So right now I'm rendering something that I'm going to be testing with the newest installment of AI thingy in Corona, because Corona, really the newest installment, has a couple of things that we can go through and enjoy. One of those elements that I find to be the real deal when it comes to, hello Rula, nice to see you. Now Aaron, hello. One thing that I want to tell you is this is the most requested feature of all time on Corona Forum. Toon shading is pretty much something that people asked for 10 years. Now, better late than never, but also we're not too late at this point, because we got this in a very cool manner. And today I'm going to guide you how to use it when dealing with Corona and the newest installment of it. So that's the number one. Then we're going to skip the Vantage link, because we already made a video on that. This time we also can transfer animations to it. So finally, it actually makes sense to use it. We've got AI enhancing, which I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to use. The Firefly removal, which again is something that I don't even want to talk about, because it's something that you can just activate and that's it. But we have something super cool, and that is the scatter update, which is the clusters, also the variations for our cosmos. So let's get into it, because we need to talk about all of them one by one, from well, one feature to another. First thing we're going to be talking about is something that we're going to be also creating next week on our webinar. So if you want to tune in a week, well, why not tune out now, right? So if you want to, in next week, we're going to be building this scene from scratch with our viewers, and our members are also going to be getting this scene for free. So Paulina Kuśnierz is the person, my student, that created this beautiful shot. So congratulations, and I'm going to teach you how to do it exactly. Hello, big fan. I love your videos. Great knowledge. Thank you. Gilan, hello to you too. Now, Before we continue, I wanted to ask, have any of you already installed Corona 13? I noticed that there's a lot of new splash art that I think the marketing team actually started doing something. Also, something that I need to mention about version 13, you can test it, or I mean, you can check out the video by Tom. The start is really funny. At least it was for me. Tom is a great guy, so it's just it gets you by surprise. Now. Let's talk about the Toon shading, because that's basically you making cartoons in 3D. Yes, to sum it up, right? What is exactly Toon shading used for? Currently in architecture, it's not as big of a priority for most of the people. But it is something that you're definitely going to be able to use to stylize your renders. And well, it's mostly something that sounds more familiar for animators and gamers, because that's basically the cell shading that a lot of people see in today's game, like the Zelda thingy, Breath of the Wild or whatever. Now, there's a lot of that, right? So where do we use it and how? So Toon shading in architecture is going to pretty much, again, help you stylize your stuff, and it's going to help you translate, or let's say explain the project to your client a little bit better. This is not going to be used to create some kind of CAD drawings. That's not exactly the purpose of it, but maybe some of you will be able to create some kind of anime or I mean cartoons. So this is going to be something that's dear to my heart due to the fact that I was making my own pseudo cell shading in Corona a while ago, and this was the result I've got. So this is the furthest I've got with inside of Corona with my own Toon shader, starting a digital watercolor for line and wash. Exactly. So in my case, you can see that, well, this quality was suboptimal, but I'm going to use this time to also let you know that I tried a lot of different techniques to create some kind of simple animations with those Toon shaders that I've created. So that was actually something that wasn't necessarily possible. Now in Corona, we have plenty of options. And how do we use it? How is it built, and what does it consist of? Well, to better show you what it does and how it works, it's best to have a simple or clean slate at first, because what surprised me is that the cell shading that we're going to see in Corona isn't really something that most of the people would let's say expect, because this is not a self-illuminated material that let's say works on its own and it just requires the point of light. No, it works with the shaders. So it's again something kind of more complex than expected, but you cannot really complain when something's just better. So Toon shading, it looks like this. We pretty much have our regular material, which looks familiar to a gradient setup, but really it's going to be the color, ambient color, and some reflections. By default, it really makes it super similar to any other shader. So on its own, it is not something that you're going to be super excited about or surprised by, because in the end, it is just a shader, right? So let's get into it, because I want to start the rendering. Hello, Asim, nice to see you. Abu, thank you very much. Thank you for the nice words. Karan, welcome to you too. Now, the shader, as you see, doesn't necessarily scream cell shading, because as I said, it's a little bit more complex than that. And on its own, it is not even going to look very cartoonish. It's, let's say, kind of realistic. Well, the fact of the matter is that there are a couple of things that make it more sophisticated. One of them is definitely the reflection. If we lose the reflection, it kind of gets to more shaded or less shaded point, right? Then is the diffuse and ambient. So the diffusion is definitely going to play a big role, and that's where you really start seeing the differences, because we can now navigate or set where the shadow is going to be and how many levels it's going to have. So again, you can see that those are spheres that pretend to have lighting. So again, it's just going to be step-by-step process. Now, if we add any kind of additional color, we're going to have more, let's say, again, more cartoony look, which again, the ambient, it's what makes my material look really cool. And now this is going to be more believable, or for at least for me, it looks as if we actually painted it in Photoshop using some brushes. There's also refraction, which for me in this case it's useless, opacity, anisotropy, so all of the normal stuff that you would like to see. But also we've got a light replacement, which essentially is the exact thing I was talking about, the self-illumination, and we're going to be able to give it a bit of different style. So again, a lot of options waiting for us. Now, displacement and maps, those are really working cool. All of those elements work fine. But what it really lacks at the moment is the outline. And once I installed the this version, I was like, how do I add the lines? Where are they? And they actually figured out that each of your materials is going to have its own outline. So it's a sub-object material that actually makes this whole process so much more cooler. So if we select our object, now it's outlined. So that's pretty neat. Now we're getting to the point where we are getting the cartoony look. Okay, but we also have the relative pixel size. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller, or let's say the size can be also altered or set specifically by pixel width. Where does this element shine? Again, it's going to be the line width and the material that we add. The moment we add something into the map of, let's say, a sort of noise map or something similar, that's going to be just the, let's say, thickness, a multiplier based on the size of your noise. Let's go for 15.5 and let's give it a bit of thickness so we can actually see how much difference does it make. So this scale is something that makes it look cartoony, and I'm really a big fan of this, and I'm hoping that this is personal for me, because I'm hoping that this Toon shader is going to jumpstart my small project of the animation I was talking about. And again, I'm just really excited for this. I know it's just part of our job and you shouldn't be getting excited about your job, but I'm a nerd and I love it. So I'm going to just state that I do. So again, Toon shader, perfection. There are a couple of downsides that we need to address, and this can be addressed here, it is definitely going to require some fine-tuning over time. They're probably going to figure out better ways to do a lot more, let's say, stitched shading, if that can be called that way. Here I've set up my shading as follows. I've added the override material, the Toon shading, and now to make your whole scene a cartoony one, you also need to now have the ability to add object outline. And yes, I tested, you cannot just outline this with any material, it has to be Corona outline material. So it kind of makes sense, because you may want to have background that's going to be described in one way, characters or specific objects in another, where you can exclude them. So again, that's kind of cool. So I like it. it just works the way it's supposed to. Now, the minus side that I was mentioning is definitely, hey Joe, how are you? Nice to have you. Mike, can we see a webinar on how to make a render from an image and perspective match modeling to rendering? We already did that, haven't we? Sometimes we see a good render, but there is no floor plan. Yeah, I think we can go for it. Why not? I think the next webinar can be exactly this. So now the outline, as you can see, it works kinda, well, it's there, and you can see that the outline at the bottom is definitely something that we should be kind of avoiding or trying to mitigate. So in this case, I would have to make sure that all of those objects in here are going to be excluded. Where's the grass actually? Which one is it? Oh, so this one, let's go to the scatter, and in scatter, as soon as it opens at some point, we're going to just select those two. Thank you. And we're going to go to the outline, and we're going to see if we can do something about it. Because again, Toon shading is probably not built to be as sophisticated or for such small objects that I'm trying to work with right now. But as you can see, if we use a little bit of brain and give some objects our own outlines or take them away, because not everything needs to be outlined in this case, we're actually going to get a decent result. As far as the shaders go, it has everything, and honestly, I cannot really complain. It's really fantastic that we don't need to even use the Toon shader to create any sort of tuned or stylized shot, because it's going to, by the sheer virtue of having the outline, it is already going to look extremely cartoony. So again, it's a very cool and I dare to say very neat way of creating your own images. And again, it's something that I'm super excited about. So if you're not nerding out about this, that's fine. I am. And let's move on to the next feature, because Toon Shader, 10 years. And this now works. I'm going to be making some webinars on it to create those kind of watercolor line type of construction sites. I am really pumped up for this. Now, since we already talked about the scatter a little bit, let's talk about its new feature, and that is the clusters. There's basically approximately 69 fixes of various bugs and small lags and various problems with this update, but too small to really mention all of them. But I counted, and in the logs, it's 69 small feature updates or bug fixes, and 15 new features total. So, and some kind of user experience thingies that will improve how you work with 3ds Max, because, well, it works. Now, we're going to just create a simple scene, because clusters are best to be described in, I would say, easy to digest manner. So first of all, we need to see very clearly what they do, what they are, and how do they affect our scene. So I'm going to make sure that we use some sort of very obtuse colors, so you cannot really, you cannot go wrong with that. Now let's go to, you can't confuse that with anything else. And that's what I wanted to say. So here, Chaos Scatter on its own is going to be quite the same as always. So nothing specific changed in the object. We follow the same rules. We just add the objects to our scene. So distribute on targeted object, instanced object, 1, 2, 3. So there's a lot of things that we now see that work really fine, and this is a regular scatter like every other, right? Now, if we go all the way down to the surface scattering, we're going to notice that now we've got those clusters. So what does the cluster do? And again, small note or small I would say something that I'm going to be trying to mention on the forums to let the developers know. Setting up the value of 50,000 centimeters or whatever value they were planning for. This value, whatever it is just too big because at first it's simply confusing. But it's the first time, first iteration, so they're probably going to be adjusting it. But if we make this into something that makes sense, something between 50 to 100, that's where you actually see how it works. So each individual object is going to be mushed into a cluster. So this means that we're going to have small portions or small islands of specific objects. Unfortunately, you cannot necessarily do an empty when it comes to it, but you can also change the frequency, which is going to essentially mean that we're going to change the values between of relation between each island size. So if it's too uniform, you can change the variety. I strongly advise you to add some additional collisions when working with this because, well, it's scattered, so it's definitely going to be a lot of objects, so it would be a good idea to keep that in mind. Quite frankly, it's amazing, and I think the Anya from Ava really made a great video showing how this works, and I'm just going to go to the nitty-gritty to talk a little bit about the details that I found to be super cool, but also kind of annoying. So we've got the UVW option, which is essentially going to be use my own UVW, where we can, let's say, take our background or our ground actually, use the UVW map, and based on its size, add different scaling. We can also stretch this out, so it's definitely going to be kind of cooler to give it a bit of a lengthened shape. So that's really something that I love. Now, since we're on the clusters and the shapes, I'm pretty sure that they will update this to introduce more surface scattering options. Like here, we've got the UV channel and patterns. I'm almost certain that at some point we're also going to see patterns in here because that kind of makes sense. We should be able to have that. But next is just the roughness and blending, diversity. So I think the diversity as a word is just tainted this day and age, but it just makes, those are just different types of mixing methods for our object, nothing else. Also, we've got some rotation, which kind of looks cool if you just play with it. And now the actual really cool thing is the painting mode. The painting mode itself is by default kind of flawed, and again, this is something that I'm going to be probably writing the developers about, at least on the forums. That here I've set up my settings or my clusters perfectly. Now I want to edit that with painting. That's impossible at the moment. You cannot take those settings and transfer them here, and you can just get the base, and it's going to be just randomized. Okay, kind of get the point, but what's the point of painting if they're expecting that you as a user will be working with some terrain that's going to be 50,000 centimeters size? You don't want to paint all of that. You should be able to edit or adjust what the clusters didn't work with or didn't prepare correctly for your tastes. But I'm going to just say that is their first installment of this. And what really is cool here is that now we can also prepare some layers. That's again going to be super duper cool because here I've got the layer, I've set the radius of my brush, and I can paint. Now I'm going to be a painter. So can you see that? This is something I was really hoping for. Again, since we're on the topic, another thing, since we've got that, I would really love to have the paint or the option for a brush that would do the same, well, but with scaling, because edit instances, although it is perfect, it makes all of the elements kind of black and white, and it sucks. So I cannot specifically target any elements. And if I try to scale element here, it's going to be scaled like that, and there's no way around it. You cannot change the behavior in the edit instances. So yeah, it's okay. It's a super huge something, but I would like to have more. I'm just greedy and I want more. So let's go for this object and let's paint on top of layers. So layers can be renamed. I was checking that out for a while because if you double click, it has a little bit of a lag, but it's definitely going to be super cool. So remove this one and we're going to be painting with that. And now we're going to be adding a little bit of different color. Don't you feel Vira is Facebook and Corona is Instagram in our industry? I would say that, So okay, I get that, Christian. Karan, sorry. I'm going to go for this because Instagram is for mostly pretty people. I understand that. Yes. I totally concur. Yes, Corona is for pretty people. Now, we've got some options of painting, some erasement, and that's again something that I'm not necessarily fond of. First of all, you cannot paint with 2 layers at a time. That kind of doesn't mix them. So developers, please. Now the base is okay, but here if I try to erase something, it just reverts back to the original. It doesn't take away the objects, so you're still going to need to delete that. Now, in this case, you kind of can have a lot of fun, but it's not exactly. Vira is more versatile for different industries. Corona is very architecture-centric. It is, it really is. And it is not exactly due to the fact that Corona wanted that to happen. It just is that the industry that put Corona on everybody's tongues was the fact that suddenly the ArcViz artists were super on, well, pretty much on steroids. For the time being, when Corona came out, it was simplified version of V-Ray with higher quality. So, of course, it's now architectural centric. It's like, you know, do you know the bubblegum Juicy Fruit? Did you know that Juicy Fruit is only a bubblegum because the, let's say, manufacturer of that, or the company that was selling it, originally was selling only soap. But as a form of promotion, they've added the Juicy Fruit gum as a bonus, a free bonus once you buy a soap. And everybody was buying the soap to get the gum, so they started selling gum. And if I recall correctly, they had like 3 or 4 levels of such transitions, but I would say that this is exactly it. Corona was supposed to be very versatile, and it was used in the movie industry at a time. For example, The Hobbit, some scenes were made in Corona. Look it up. It's actually is actually real. And something that's really fantastic is that thanks to you guys, Corona is what it is today, because you users actually, well, forced the developers to get those features running. So that's definitely it. Okay, so clusters, fun. Now, what I don't like, and you guys don't like it either, and now if you're ever going to be talking to any developers from Corona, make sure to mention that, right? So the clusters are fun, but you cannot get the base settings from general in here. That's bad. Next thing that we collectively decided that is cool but kind of weird is the instance color map. So here we are going to be, Lord of the Rings also made ZBrush popular. Oh, I didn't know that. That's new for me. I'm going to have to look it up to just have a broader portfolio of anecdotes for you guys. Now, this is something that wasn't explained by Tom or anybody else yet, so I'm going to go for it. Now, you see, it is very cool and specifically professionally created map. That's mine. So if we add a map like this into our instance, as you can see, absolutely nothing happens at the moment. And I was trying to figure out whether I should fix the colors to make sure that this color matches the color of my painting or my beautiful texture professionally made. No, actually, it turns out that it's a little bit different system that for some reason nobody thought of, hey Chris, of explaining to moi. Now, you need to select the object and you now have an option or ability to set the instance color. And that's where you just grab it, and you should see that now this color is assigned only to that specific object. So blue goes in, we just decide that now our this part is going to be green and this part is going to be the gray. Okay, so that's basically it. We've got 3 colors and it works really well. So obviously it's going to be bound to your UVW map. So if you change something about the UVW map, it will just move, and it's a very, again, versatile way of connecting with your clients. Not in a spiritual way, but what I'm trying to say, imagine that you have some sort of floor plan or construction site, and you've got all the plans already pre-planned in some specific order or places. Having the ability to paint that in Photoshop, like I did professionally in here, just to make sure that the dandelions are going to be next to the house, while the other object is going to be somewhere else, is super duper cool. Now, I was also figuring out whether I can or cannot use different settings. One of the settings that does not translate, for example, is the Corona bitmaps blur. I'm pretty sure that they just forgot about the ability to blur the maps, and that's why they're expecting you to blur it in Photoshop or other software. So that's fine. I don't care about that much. But what's really cool is that if we change the maps channel to a different one, although it doesn't necessarily state that exactly, it is actually going to transfer or follow. So in this case, you can see that my random seed and the specific cluster option doesn't have the use multiple maps or whatever. That's not here, but if you actually, well, follow up with your mapping, although I changed the mapping coordinates to map channel 2, now if I change this, nothing happened. But if I change it anyway, you can see that now the mapping coordinates automatically follow. So that's kind of cool because you can decide what mapping coordinates you're going to be using. Same goes for the UV channels for the cluster itself. You can actually set that, but the mapping is unrelated to that point that we're clicking. So again, it's something. So definitely cool feature to have, and it works with the predetermined clusters and distribution options that we already have built in Corona anyway. So it's just cool, and I really like it. So you can create your own noise maps or specific shapes. So that's why I said that we're probably going to have some presets with their own procedural maps with multiple colors, but that's not here and not there at the moment. And nothing in particular changed in this setting. So probably worth mentioning, but not a very big deal. It's just we got more assets in the Chaos Cosmos browser. So basically now some of the trees will silently be also equipped with different versions for different seasons. I would like to see the same icon like here, the animated version with multiple options or variety, like some kind of color swatch, anything that would indicate that this has more options, because looking through this, I wouldn't really think that I'm going to have 2 options for this thing, right? So that's definitely something that I would also like to see. Still no animated objects in here, but we're probably going to be able to find an option or ability to steal them from them. Ethically sourced. Now, lol, didn't know that. Hello, Lord of the Rings. If you can link the meshes object color to this, will make merging into place fast. Not sure what you mean, Robin, by that. Sir V-Ray render. About V-Ray. We might soon have V-Ray in our classes, just we might, and that's something that we might have the next semester, but that's just, I don't know, I'm not sure. So going back to me ranting about elements that I like and don't like, the edit instances we should have the exact same thing, but with edit size or create a size map, because now if we have brushes for everything, let's have brushes for everything. Yes, we can use the built-in 3ds Max painting to create the map. No, I want brushes. I'm a brush guy now. So please make sure to add them in. I'm specifically talking to you, developers of Corona, and I know that you listen to me. Because yes, no, obviously, I'm just hoping that if they listen, that we're going to see something like that. Anyway, now the third element that is worth mentioning, but it shouldn't, is actually going to be the AI enhancer. So now we can see this handsome guy and this lovely lady actually being in a process of being humans. So I've already took some time to go through this process a little bit earlier, so we don't have to wait too long. Now let's see. We've got the AI enhancing in here. So this was the image that I've created earlier on, just a short render, and this render was also by one of my students, and this was, if I recall correctly, created by Paulina, but I must just check that out. Joanna, sorry for that, it was Joanna's work. So Joanna Vocina. I apologize. Now it's try Toon shade, please. We already did, clan, at the very beginning of our webinar. Yeah. Anyway, here we go. We enhance. So the enhancement process takes a bit of time, and I'm going to say something that, well, yeah. So on the forum, people started asking, me included, hey, can you confirm that using AI enhancer will not cost any more money, charge more than the regular license? So basically, anything that is done in the cloud is done in the cloud for the purpose of making it a service, right? And so now we're going to have a service because you cannot do it on your own. No, that would be bad. Your computer is just too slow for that, sir. And now we send it to the collaboration tab that for some reason they're really trying to force, but they're trying to force it so that it slowly evolves into the platform and a service. And then once it's a service platform, you're going to be charged by every second of usage. But that's going to be creeping in slowly. So for now, just as the mighty Tom mentioned, I can confirm that that is how it is today, and that there are no immediate plans. So there are plans, but not immediate. So yeah, they're basically planning to add coins for each AI enhancement as soon as it actually is product ready. Kind of makes sense, but I would say fine, But then again, there are different systems that can work locally, and I'm going to probably use that unless you guys will really have something going on. Now, blah, 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 confirm, blah, 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 blah. And in the end, it will cost credits. So money credits are coming. So yay. Love seeing that. That's just very good strategy. I love paying for everything. So now we've got the version 1 and version 2. What's the difference, you say? Well, yeah, well, it's something. It's definitely there. Some elements will make no sense, and to be honest, I really love the fact that we now, instead of almost seeing a human, see nothing at all. So that's fun. Honestly, I'm not going to be too harsh because honestly, this is an update, but it's just in an early stage. So let's give them a bit of time to improve it so we can start paying for it, right? Now, there's another thing that in here, I didn't click the right thing. So here, in order to use the enhancement, that's something we have to go over as well. Render elements, go to AI enhancement and just add the AI enhancement mask, which essentially looks like this. It looks like this. It's just pretty much going to have Z depth, color information, and depth information. So all of that niceties. I strongly advise you to also go for regular masking for your own sake to make sure that you can actually use this in a proper manner, or at least make it make sense. Because in the end, at the moment, they accept only 2K images, maybe a little bit bigger than that, but not too much. So my trick is to use something like 2D pan zoom mode to render. But for some reason, the 2D pan zoom mode doesn't work at all since like 2 versions. So instead we have to go for crop the area, increase our resolution ×4 or something like that. That way we can only render without moving our camera that specific spot we're interested in. And that way, again, we're going to have more details about the humans that we're enhancing, because humans are really good to enhance because most of the time those people, although beautiful in real life, don't look good when we're trying to enhance them. So version 1. Now I need to go back here, click on that, and for some reason it just didn't get the memo that it's supposed to be enhanced. So could you please upload files? Okay. Now it's probably doing it the right thing. Okay, it's now uploaded. And we're going to go just a disclaimer. I do understand that running a server that's going to be doing stuff for me costs money, and I'm totally aware of that. But if I have an option of not paying that money and doing it locally, I would prefer that. Maybe it's better to take our final image into a different AI enhancer. That's what I'm trying to suggest, that possibly that's where we're going to end up with, because at some point you're definitely going to kind of feel the need of enhancing images, because everybody in the industry already does it, and in many cases it is something that we should be definitely expecting. The boxes have colors, green, etc. If you have your plans object color, the same you could merge in plans and replace the boxes with plans that have the corresponding colors. Yes, that's what I thought, but you can actually add it, let's say, quite fast in the scatter itself. I would rather have that basically do what you said, for one very important reason, because once you set it up for scatter 1, you have to repeat that setup for scatter 2 and 3 and 4. So doing it the way you described it was something that I thought this is going to work, well, exactly the same way as you imagined it. But In reality, it's different. That's why the color scheme here was chosen the way it was, because the first time I was testing it, I had to figure out how it works, and I was basically changing the colors of my bitmap to match the wire color of the objects. But in the end, it didn't work. So that's why the professionally made image looked like that. So while the enhancement is happening, the reason why we should be cropping out this small specific render, or just the human one, is that you can clearly see that those humans did not go through the enhancement really well. But in here, if we go to the level 2, which is still going to be downloaded, it said it's ready, so now we're waiting. And we're done. So now you can see that this beautiful person, some would say ladyboy, some would say brave soul. Well, it still needs some tweaking, obviously. Well, jokes aside, most of those images, or most of the image enhancers, will be trained on some sort of photos of human beings, and most likely there's a lot of beautiful women which would probably have a lot to say about those very as I did the same experiment during the webinar, and one of the students said nice lashes, bro, something like that, and it was the funniest thing, just out of the nice makeup, bro, something like that, or nice lipstick. I don't remember what that person said exactly, but it was probably lashes. Yeah, nice lashes, bro. And it was the funniest. But the enhancement, once we get our hands on this and enhance the shot itself, you can see that it actually looks good. They're handling that pickle really nicely, but the people were enhanced. Basically, we've got this very handsome guy into something or somebody else, but it's definitely better than seeing this where he had a totally mushed face. So the workflow for me would be to essentially download the version back, so copy the image, take this to Photoshop, and since we created the masks and I was expecting that this is going to happen, we're essentially going to be forced to do it anyway. So first of all, the AI enhancement is good, but it still needs a lot of work. Plus, download file requires me to click twice, which I don't necessarily like. I like all of those options to be just ready to go. I know that they're probably trying to keep you using the well, it's just bad UI design. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's okay. We've got that. Now, the fact of the matter is that we created a mask just for the humans. So unfortunately, due to unforeseen problems, we're definitely going to need to grab the mask and align it ourselves to get it right. Not an ideal solution. Plus, this image is already enhanced, so we're not going to be able to see the exact feature, and that's basically going to be us just scaling the elements. So we're going to try to figure it out in a second, but the workflow would probably work really well if it would be calculated in some foreseeable way. But for me, I was just doing the tests bare bones. So the workflow still needs to be, let's say, thought through. And at the moment, I would say that the enhancement is so underwhelming that we shouldn't be counting on it too much. But at the same time, it is not like it's just simply bad, it's not yet ready. So going back to this, let's see what we've got. We're just going to try to align this as much as we can. Okay, kind of got it. So let's say it's fine. So now I'm going to use this with 100%. So, okay. We're just going to need to create a backdrop and okay. Now let's see if it works. If we failed, we failed. If not, we should have okay-ish. You know what? Now when I think about it, I shouldn't be doing it at all. I should just do it differently. Now, I take this back. You can actually avoid this. Let's turn off the crop. Give this a bit of render only masks, and we're going to be checking out the original. Why would I even do that? So still I'm going to have to align the original enhanced smaller image, which we also enlarged, but image size, this is image size wise this, so cancel. Let's go for that. As I said, it only improves the image up to 4K. So that's another thing we have to take into account, that it just doesn't go above that scale. Okay. Render this out. Looks like Joker from Batman. Yeah, it's more like a Riddler, I would say. Maybe it's better to into different enhance. Yeah, okay. Maxwell, yeah, that's basically my reaction. So now what we're doing is we're grabbing the scene, still parsing it. There's a lot of scatters in here because when Yana was creating this, she went all out with displacement and all the settings. So we're just going to wait for the 4K image to happen for the next 5,000 years. Okay, calculating displacement for no reason at all, because honestly, we don't need it with just render masks only, but initial light pass, and now we've got it. We grab it. We're almost there. Okay, stoppity stop. Now that makes more sense. Now we're going to have the mask back in. We got the humans. We placed the mask in. And now we just need to, yeah, the image is totally too dark. I get it. But now our Batman villain is in the right spot. So let's disable the mask for a second, reposition them where he belongs. And now those people look better. Now just one hundo, and we've got our jokester back in. Some exposure is going to be needed. My God, my computer is just killing me now for no reason. It's not even warm. I mean my computer. So going back to here, we've got the exposure. Could you exposure, please? Okay, my computer is just probably not responding because of I don't know. I absolutely have no idea why it's not working. So exposure. Oh. Offset. Go here. Nah. Okay, we're just going to add some exposure directly and move this guy higher so it fits. Basically, yes, it works. It did enhance everything about those people, but still we would have to work around the mask a little bit. Maybe I could just do the opposite and just unmask the mask so it doesn't necessarily require me to be precise, which would be a good idea actually, but I just wanted to make sure that it's going to be nice and easy. Okay, not that bad, but still, this gentleman is now going to need some kind of therapy. Okay, guys, so that's basically all the features. Rest is, again, just worth mentioning as yeah, they added that because Vantage is there, it was there. New colors for assets. Okay, so we might as well just say new assets. Then we've got what? Oh, film. Yeah, film is another small feature. Basically, we just got our physical material one step further into making it a bit more complex. So long story short, it's just there. if we make that our object into a nice smooth object, we can now add a film, and it's going to have that nice bubble-like effect on it. We can add textures for that. I don't do a lot of bubbles in my scenes, so at the moment I'm not going to be excited about it, but knowing that it exists, it actually makes me happy, because now I know that I can have that option without really going through 10,000 additional steps. One thing that I would like to also see for the Chaos Scatter next update is, since we clustered the cluster into our scatter, I'd like to do scatter inside of scatter inside of scatter, so I can select a specific type of scatter as a cluster, so that way I would be able to control this even better, because then I will be able to do much more difference and variety in settings, if you know what I mean. Just object A is not going to need the same type of scatter as object B, let's say rotation or scale wise. That'll be kind of cool, and I'm going to be reviewing this a lot. Anyway, guys, this is it for today. Thank you so much for staying with me for this long. I really appreciate that. Now, the fact of the matter is that, well, I'm still Vizacademy. So if you want to join our school, make sure to visit Vizacademy Co.uk and sign up today, because we're waiting for you, and July our class starts. We're going to have new videos and updated videos because I am in the process of recording a lot. Also, visit our Instagram if you want to ask some questions or get some daily tips, and also see our beautiful, talented, genius level students uploading their images. For example, right now I should be logged in, but I'm not, so I'm just going to switcheroo to a different account on my Google thingy. And we're going to see some of the work. Antrekesh, for example, uploaded this beautiful shot, and as always, people started thinking that we're designing interiors because this is so good, and honestly, this is just marvelous. We also have another work by Ola, so again, perfect, but Alexandra is another amazing example of our students' work. So there's so many good images in here. Nathan, for example, so perfect. Next, we've got Athir. That's beautiful. Guys, join Vizacademy to meet me and also to have some fun with our other students. If you have any questions about our school, please feel free to ask those questions as many times as you need. You can contact us via email, info@vizacademy.uk, and you can also sign up by joining our Instagram and asking more questions there. So that would be probably a good idea if you are interested in that. So join us, and oh, by the way, Roberta, good job. This is it for today. Thank you once again. See you in 1 week. We're going to be talking about Paulina's work, and that time we're going to be creating an exterior from zero to hero. So as always, we're going to go from scratch with new clusters to a final image, and we're going to test some enhancing even more. Once again, thank you, and see you next time. Bye, guys.